helmet. There is so much that is happening. I'm very excited to be here. Rob is also excited to be here. You guys know how during the college basketball season, Rob and I couldn't get on the same page about what team to cheer for, so we agreed to cheer for the K-State women's team. They made it to the Sweet 16. We did that. I have agreed to cheer for the Kansas baseball team. So I was scrolling the interwebs a couple of days ago, and on Baseball America, they did their projections on who they think could make it to the College World Series. And one of the teams was the Kansas Jayhawks. Rob has told me they are not calling them the Jayhawks anymore. They're the Omahawks. So we are going to have their manager join us on the show coming up in about 40 minutes. Dan Fitzgerald is going to join us on the show. We have adopted the Kansas baseball team on this show. We need to support one baseball team that can score runs. We want to do that for the Royals. They are not making it easy for us. So I would like for the next, 45 days of the baseball season to be fun. I'm not sure if it's going to be fun over at Kauffman Stadium. It seems like it's fun in Lawrence. We have adopted them. So their manager will be on the show. Before we get to today's top story, I would like to ask you guys a couple of things. I would appreciate it if you listen to the show every day at 2 o'clock. Right here on 96.5 The Fan. I would also appreciate it if you would tell one friend about the show. You don't have to tell two friends about the show. That would be greedy. If you could just tell one person to check out the show, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, usually when I come here and sit down, I kind of scroll the text line just to get a tone of what's been going on for the day. Some days, Rob and I's name pop up on the text line, even though we didn't do anything. I try to make sure that Rob and I mind our own business. I don't bother the morning show. I don't bother the midday show. I try to focus on drive business because ultimately that's all I control. And sometimes we get roped into other things, and that's fine. I haven't seen one person on the text line say, man, Carrington was right. Because just yesterday on this show, what did I lead with? Since paying Patrick Mahomes, they have drafted 8 skill position players with varying results. What I want to see the Chiefs do is continue to add weapons. I want to see them add a new running back. I want to see them add a new wide receiver. The text line kept telling me, offensive line, offensive line, offensive line. They ain't drafting no offensive line. Not as many as you think they will. But you know what they can do? They can improve at running back. They can improve at wide receiver and get more dynamic. You guys argue with me ad nauseum yesterday. Then Brett Veach steps up to the podium, and what does he say? The exact same thing that I said yesterday on this show that you were arguing with me about.
You're a few bad weeks away from having no depth at all. I mean, I know I've always said the story a few years back of that defensive end position where we had a 2 or 3 week span where we lost multiple guys. And, last year, Pacheco got hurt early on. And I mean, we always want to surround Pat with playmakers. And, the more talented wideouts you can throw on the field at one time is something important to us. And depth at running back. And look, this kickoff role too. I mean, ideally, it would be advantageous for us to identify a receiver and or running back that has explosive playmaking ability on both ends. Remigio did a great job, but again, we're always pushing the envelope to get 1% better. And if we can add another dynamic element to both return phases, that would be something that would make sense. So it's not just wanting to continue to add explosive playmaking at the running back or the receiver position. It's also the return game.
What I desperately want for the Chiefs to do is to get younger and more explosive at the skill position because that's where explosive plays come from. It's so refreshing to hear Brett Veach say everything that I've been saying this offseason. Now, it's one thing to say it, and I would argue that that's not what their offseason has looked like so far. But I have told you, I am not panicked. Because 1 week from now, they can start the process of answering some of these questions. A problem with the Chiefs' offense last year is they didn't have a lot of explosiveness at running back. Well, coming up, guess what? Brett Veach, the general manager, the guys that you tell me that I should believe in, Trust in Veach. Guess what position he thinks is the deepest in this entire draft? Listen to this.
So the defensive line class in general is good. I think that's probably driven more so by the depth at D end. I think there's a lot of D ends, and I think that running backs is certainly I think the deepest class in the draft. A close second would be D end. I think the interior defensive line numbers are I think better than most years, but I don't think they come anywhere close to the D line depth and the corner depth. I think those two are just wow. I mean, you look at the board and those names go from top to bottom. Interior O line is light. Corner I think is actually decent in the middle rounds. I think D line is okay, but I don't think it's any more or less than any one particular. I think that where you're getting the big numbers from top to bottom are D end and running backs.
Oh my goodness. I'm getting emotional. It's like Brett Veach has been listening to this show. I've always known that they listen. They've told me that they listen to this show. What have I been telling you guys for months now? They don't have to draft a running back in round 1. I mean, I'd love for them to get Ashton Genty. That's not realistic. I'd love for them to get Omarion Hampton. I don't think that's realistic. This is as deep of a running back class that I can remember. There will be multiple Pro Bowlers. There will be multiple 1,000-yard rushers that are drafted on days 2 and days 3 of this year's NFL draft. Guys that you've heard of before. Devin Neal, DJ Giddens, the 2 very talented running backs that helped Ohio State win a national championship. Ollie Gordon, Cam Scattaboo, guys you've heard of before. Take one of them. I just heard the general manager say that they're always pushing the envelope and that they want to give Patrick Mahomes as many weapons as possible on all phases. You have not done that at running back. You got a chance to fix it. Do it. That's it. That's all I've been saying. That's it. You guys don't know how rewarding it is to hear the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs agree with the stances that I've had on this show. That's what they need this offseason. If your offensive line was their biggest issue, they've addressed your need. They went out and they signed Jalen Moore, day 1 of free agency. You've been handled. You've been served. I haven't been in this offseason. They are no better at running back today than they were in the Eagles game. I don't know if they're better at wide receiver than they were. They got a chance to be better. Take one of them. That's it. Coming up, starting next Thursday. Get better at those other positions. Get more dynamic. Get more explosive. That's how you help your quarterback. Last thing here. This isn't even a I was right, you were right. I think we both are right about this one. That can happen. This isn't a you said anything wrong or I said anything wrong. This is just an admission of where we are. Here is Brett Veach. Their number 1 goal after the draft has to be to reach a long-term extension with Trey Smith because it will free them up to take care of other players that they need to pay.
We get that done. I mean, there's no lack of interest or will or desire on our end. And we did have, Pete, a ton of talk with Torrey and Jimmy, his agents at the Combine. Those conversations continued on to the owners' meetings. And so now also CAA has a ton of draft prospects, and they have a ton going on. So, we've exchanged multiple phone calls, multiple emails. And, my guess is once the draft's over and our focus is back on taking care of the players that are here and trying to get those guys locked up, and CAA on their end. I mean, they have, again, they're one of the leading agencies in regards to the players they produce every year. So I'm sure once things settles down on both ends, we'll be in a position to continue this dialogue and hopefully make some progress there. But there's no secret there. We'd like to get Trey locked up.
That would be the best thing for the Chiefs to do. Sign Trey Smith to a long-term extension, which frees up some cap space, and take care of 2 positions at very important positions of need. You have one of the best young corners in the National Football League. The clock is now ticking on what his contract is going to be. It will never get cheaper for Trent McDuffie. It will only get more expensive. Now, he is number one on my list. Maybe you want to pay George Karlaftis this offseason. Maybe George wants to bet on himself. He hasn't had that big, dynamic Max Crosby year that would make you want to give him a $100 million contract. So if you sign George Karlaftis now, I would say it would be him taking a little bit more of the sure thing and not being willing to gamble on himself. You can't tell him how to handle his business. If he doesn't want to gamble on himself, he doesn't have to gamble with himself. But you have drafted 2 starting caliber players, and one of them is an all-pro player at corner. You figure that contract out. You have another young pass rusher on your team. In fact, you only have one talented young pass rusher on your entire organization. That needs to be something that you prioritize this offseason, either finding another one, and he is telling you that he believes that DN is very deep in this draft class, and taking care of the one that you currently have who has shown you an ability to be able to get to the quarterback. We can take your phone calls on this, 913-586-7965. We are exactly 1 week away from round 1 of the NFL draft. It is so happy to hear that Brett Veach and I are on the exact same page about what is important heading into this draft. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
During the NBA play-in tournament, FanDuel is giving all new customers a shot at $250 in bonus bets. Join FanDuel today. You'll get started with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. From three-pointers to steals to assists to who you think will get a double-double, who you think will make the first basket of the game. FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite player props. Plus, even after a game tips off, you can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win real big. So visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to get in on all the NBA play-in tournament action. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued with non-withdrawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get up with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
Red Hot Car Giveaway, only at Harris, Kansas City. Saturday, April 26th, one lucky winner will win a brand new Red Hot Lexus ES350. Harris is giving away $2,500 in free play every 15 minutes from 7 p.m. till 10:45 p.m. At 11, 2 winners will receive $5,000 in free play, and 1 person will win $10,000 cash. And 1 person drives home a brand new Lexus ES350. Visit our website for full details. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Looking for the perfect engagement ring? At Shane Company, we know this is an exciting time. It can also be overwhelming. Customers say this a lot. Where do I start? How do I choose? At Shane Company, this is where the magic happens. Since 1929, we've been experts at helping customers find the perfect engagement ring. We invite you into the design process, help you pick out the perfect diamond or colorful gemstone, and choose a style that speaks to you. Come see us in store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Are you prepared for the change in seasons? Take advantage of Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter's $69 seasonal HVAC tune-up deal to help prevent costly breakdowns and ensure your heating or cooling system is running at peak efficiency. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Our licensed technicians and exceptional service guarantee will give you peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then You get into the all-new Nissan Murano, and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof, while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather-appointed seats are available features.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You know how you always want to know about everyone else's money? On the podcast, What We Spend, guests will, for 1 week, tell us everything they spend their money on.
My son slammed $6 worth of blueberries in 5 minutes.
And everything that makes them feel.
I want to own a house. I want to have a child. But this morning, I really wanted a coffee.
Because at the end of the day, money is always about more than your balance. Listen to and follow What We Spend, an Odyssey original podcast. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Follow the station on Instagram at TheFan965 for giveaways and behind-the-scenes content.
All right, Rob, I want to bring you in for this. Bink is going to join us in about an hour and a half. We'll get his thoughts on what he heard from Brett Veach. I want to play this one more time in case you missed it. Brett Veach wants to see this team add more weapons at the skill position players, more specifically running back and wide receiver.
You're a few bad weeks away from having no depth at all. I mean, I know I've always said the story a few years back of that defensive end position where we had a 2 or 3 week span where we lost multiple guys. And, you know, last year, Pacheco got hurt early on. And I mean, we always want to surround Pat with playmakers. And, you know, the more talented wideouts you can throw on the field at one time is something important to us. And depth at running back. And look, this kickoff role too. I mean, ideally, you know, it would be advantageous for us to identify a receiver and or running back that has explosive playmaking ability on both ends. Remigio did a great job, but again, we're always pushing the envelope to get 1% better. And if we can add another dynamic element to both return phases, that would be something that would make sense. So it's not just wanting to continue to add explosive playmaking at the running back or the receiver position. It's also the return game.
All right, let's break this up into 2 parts, Rob. Let's talk about the first part, which is your favorite position, and talk about in running back. It is not a question to me anymore if the Chiefs are going to draft a running back. I don't think that you can look at their running back room. You as a general manager can then say, we believe that this group is the deepest in the entire draft, and then not leave with one of them. Now, I've never been very particular about where they need to select their running back. They're not taking one at 31. That's perfectly fine. We will then see how big of a need they think it is. Could they spend a second-round pick on Judkins or Henderson out of Ohio State? I think there's a possibility. Could they in round 3, especially because they have the Titans pick? Could they take R.J. Harvey, the very talented running back out of UCF? Could they take him in the 3rd round? Could they take the couple of local kids, DJ Giddens and Devin Neal? Could they take them in the middle rounds? I'm not super particular about the where, but what I don't think they can do is wait to do what they did with Isaiah Pacheco, take one at pick 2. No, you need to use, I would say, a premium pick for a player that is going to end up being a focal point of your offense. I understand that we have convinced ourselves that running back doesn't matter and they're interchangeable. We're talking about a player that you think is going to touch the ball somewhere between 250 and 300 times. So I don't mind spending the 66th overall pick on that kind of player, or spending a late second round pick on a player that is going to touch the ball more than anybody else in our offense and getting who we deem to be a premium prospect. I'm cool with them spending a high pick on a running back. Rob, you are usually not fine with it. What do you make of Brett Veach's comments that he seems to understand that they have to do more than what they've gotten this last season from the running back room?
So two things can be true at once, Carrington. First and foremost, me and you actually on the same page here. Draft a running back. Like, I think there are, I don't know if it's Chiefs colored glasses or blinders or whatever last year with Chiefs fans and how Kareem Hunt performed. I think he was the definition of fine. You can easily upgrade from fine. Also, Isaiah Pacheco was solid, above fine when healthy 2 years ago. He was not healthy last year. So let's add a running back. Me and you were on the same page there. Me and you are also on the same page. Not in the first round, not at pick 31, unless for some reason Ashton Genty has fallen, in which case I don't know what would have transpired in the world where he's at 31. But outside of that, I have no problem taking a running back. I have the ones I prefer. You probably have the ones you prefer, but they need a running back because they need to be in a position where when they break out of St. Joe, we and them and fans and Arrowhead Addicts, whatever blog, should be having very difficult conversations of, hey, is one of these guys getting the axe because the rookie is so good? That is the best case scenario for the Chiefs, is that on August, whatever cut day is, September, whatever, everyone in Kansas City is talking about, hey, are they going to surprise cut Kareem Hunt? Maybe they let Elijah Mitchell go. Maybe they, somehow they do something with, I don't know. But that's the situation they need to be in. So RJ Harvey, DJ Giddens, Devin Neal, Ollie Gordon, Travion Henderson, Quishon Judkins, pick a guy. But they need to be in a situation where they're breaking St. Joe. We are having conversations about, hey, what veteran is not making it to week one?
Sounds like you and I are on the same page about running back, and that's perfectly fine. We don't have to spend any more time talking about running back. I know that makes you uncomfortable. Let's now move to the other side of the ball and the other position that he addressed, which is talking about the D end. He said that he believes the two deepest positions in this year's draft are running back and defensive end. I think the most important player heading into this draft is Felix Anudike-Uzomah. It's time. I think we have all given him and the Chiefs enough time for this. We are heading into the most important year of his career. Because he was a first-round pick, at the end of this upcoming season, you now have the ability to pick up his option or not. We will find out in a year's time from now, is Felix on a 4-year deal or a 5-year deal? How they feel about Felix and his development so far, that will be answered in how they address defensive end. He told you they're taking a defensive end. Sometimes you got to trust people at what they say and at face value. Hey, we think the running back's the deepest. All right, well, then we're going to take one of them. We don't have a single running back on our team that is under contract for the 2026 season. If you think that D-end is a deep position, you got to take one of them then. Are they taking that position in round one? Because if they're taking them in round one, I would imagine, now I know that the first time it wasn't that case, I don't think you're just continuing to draft defensive linemen and they are on a redshirt plan. I think you were drafting guys in the first round with the expectation that they can help you for this upcoming season. If Felix gets passed over by whoever they drafted his position, that tells me everything I need to know. Or if they are addressing defensive end in the 4th or the 5th round, I think it gives you a glimpse into they feel good about Felix heading into this season. Ask yourself today, where do you expect the pass rush to come from the 2025 Kansas City Chiefs? And while you are answering that question, do you think Felix is a part of that? Because I know Chris Jones is a part of that. I know George Karlaftis is a part of that. I know Charles Omenihu is a part of that. You would have to assume at some point somebody gets injured because that's football. Somebody gets hurt at every position. Somebody gets hurt at running back. Somebody gets hurt at wide receiver. Somebody gets hurt at tight end. Guys get hurt playing football. If you have an injury, and he said that there, 1 or 2 injuries will significantly challenge your depth, and they are better prepared to handle an injury at some positions than they are at others. If they lose one of their pass rushers, they are in trouble. You don't have many of them. How they feel about Felix heading into this year, we will know around Saturday how they feel about him. Are they spending a first-round pick on a D-end? Are they spending a second-round pick on a D-end? Or are they taking a B.J. Thompson type? Are they taking a Joshua Kando, a guy who tested really well, but he's a little bit of a project, and they're willing to see this thing through? I think he is the most important player heading into this draft. He is the player that his standing could change the most in my mind, depending on how they handle this upcoming draft.
So it feels good to get back to this. Whew. Let's talk positional value, because I think how the Chiefs handled D-end has nothing to do with Felix Anudike-Uzomah.
Okay.
Because I don't care how deep it is. I know Brett Veach said it was super deep. I don't care. That is one of the premium positions on the football field. How do you acquire premium players at premium positions, Carrington? With premium draft picks. I know there was this thought that B.J. Thompson could turn into something. He didn't. Joshua Kando could turn into something. He didn't. I know we talked about, the measurables. Remember, Joshua Kando was a 5-star high school recruit. They loved talking about that. It didn't turn into nothing in college. It didn't turn anything in the NFL. You need to use a top 64 pick on that position. And if you get production out of Felix, party on. Now you have multiple of them. But I think in the first 2 rounds, whether it be D-end or D-line in general, maybe it's Walter Nolan, the guy from Ole Miss, the D-tackle, I think they are going to address pass rush early next Thursday. I think we're up at the landing. We're going to be talking about, D-end or D-lineman so-and-so is falling. Keep your eye on the Chiefs, because the same way that we talked about yesterday, you can't cure your wide receiver ills by taking Cornell Powell in the 5th round and hoping it works out because it's a low chance. I feel the same way about D-end. In the first 2 rounds, you have to take one, and I don't think that has anything to do with Felix. Sometimes you take one at the end of the first round, you get Felix. Sometimes you take one at the end of the first round, you get George Karlaftis, who has been a big plus for this team. This is where the Chiefs have to attack with their first 2 rounds. They have to get more pass rush.
If I had to ask you right now, and I'm trying to find the exact odds for this, and I'm sure they'll pop up at some point. Actually, it's up right now, so I found it. This is how they have it right now on FanDuel if you want to bet on this. They have offensive linemen at even money. You bet $1, you win $1 if the Chiefs draft an offensive lineman with their first player. They could trade back their first player.
That seems like a sucker bet, by the way, but that's not here nor there.
Number 2, they have defensive line or defensive edge, and then they have a big gap. Corner is plus 900, running back is plus 950, safety is plus 1500, wide receiver is plus 1600. So if you think they're going opposite of the offensive line or defensive line, there is money to be made if you believe in this. I think the most likely thing that they do is I think they're drafting a defensive lineman. I think what will probably happen is the board's not going to fall exactly how you think it is. Simmons isn't going to be there. One of those offensive linemen isn't going to be there. There's going to be a team that's willing to look past the medicals a little bit because supply and demand. We need a tackle. We're going to take a tackle. I'm thinking, based on what we heard today from Veach, they love this DN class. They think it is a really talented class. And depth at the position doesn't just mean in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round. It means we think we can get a premium player and we don't necessarily have to draft in the top 10. We think at the low end of the first round, we can get a guy that we really like and test well. If you're asking me today the direction I think they are going to go, I think they are setting it up to go on the offensive or defensive line and attack the line of scrimmage. I think today they are drafting a defensive lineman in round 1. Where would you go?
I think it's defensive lineman. I actually think it's defensive lineman's the large umbrella. I actually think it'll be defensive tackle because I think they're a little bit deficient there. And because of what Veach said with the depth of edge, they can maybe use that 3rd round pick to maneuver around in the 2nd round and get an edge. But I think, and I know that FanDuel and DraftKings don't have odds on 2nd round, or there's no interest in doing it. I would bet they go D tackle, D end in 1-2. And that's when you see 3rd round running back, maybe a 3rd round wide. Then they start to address that skill position that you talked about. But I think they know as well as I know that pass rush is a premium, and Karlaftis is due up to be a free agent. Charles Omenihu, Mike Dana, these guys are not long time, like going to be here for a long, long time in Kansas City. At least those two. And behind them, you have Felix, who has not been up to par. And that's it. Like, I know they like Malik Herring over there. Cool. I think they know what I know, which is their edge rush and their pass rush depth is lacking. So I think it's D-line, whether it's edge and then D-tackle or D-tackle then edge. I think by the time that the Titans pick comes up, they will have adjusted defensive line twice.
All right, let's switch gears just a little bit, and we'll get back to draft coming up momentarily. We'll also be joined by the manager for the Kansas Jayhawks baseball team. Rob is calling them the Omahawks. They got a chance of going to the College Baseball World Series this year. Earlier today, we got the news that there is one final show for Lee Corso. Lee Corso is going to do week 1 of the college football season, and then he is going to retire. If you have watched the show, I think you've known for quite some time that the end is coming up for Lee Corso, but everybody loves Lee. Kirk Herbstreit absolutely loves him, and that's a big reason why I think Lee has continued to be on the show, despite not having his fastball anymore, so to speak. I think what makes Lee Corso so important and so cool is we obviously all get into this because we love the athletes. Rob gives me a tough time about loving Peter Warrick, and he's one of my favorite college players, or Reggie Bush. Like, you get into this because there was a player that you just gravitated towards and thought that he was amazing. But I also think off the field, and whether it's in the booth or it's commentating it, there are certain people that you associate with a given sport. I am in my mid-30s. And even though John Madden hasn't called an NFL game for almost 20 years now, when I hear the NFL, when I see the NFL, I think of John Madden and Pat Summerall. And there are two people that were very instrumental in helping me become an NFL fan and teaching me the game and being my eyes and ears as you start to understand it and pick this thing up as a hobby. If you like boxing, you think of Larry Merchant, you think of Jim Lampley and those great fights on HBO. If you think of the NBA, you hear Hubie Brown, you hear Doris Burke, you hear Charles Barkley. There are certain people that you associate with the thing, and your fandom is synonymous with those people. College basketball, Dick Vitale. If you love college football the way that I love college football, Lee Corso is a major, major part of that. You cannot undersell the importance of College Game Day. It made college football cool. They do it on location. It's a big deal when they pick your school, your alma mater, your team to be the host of it. I've been to College Game Day before, so I've seen it. You're excited. There is a level of enthusiasm that you have for it. And then we all wait for the big part of it. It's not just them talking about the games for the day and setting it up and going through what's going to happen in the sport. The show culminates in one moment. The show culminates in whoever the celebrity is, they all make their picks. And yeah, you care about their picks, but ultimately, there's only one pick that you care about. They go around and everybody makes their predictions, and you wait for one person's thoughts on the game. And ultimately, it's not just his pick, it's the pageantry of it. It's the show of it. Give me that mascot head. He puts the mascot head on, and either everybody boos him because he picks against the home team, or there is a measure of celebration that happens. These are things that you sign up for when you decide that you want to be a sports fan, and more specifically, a college football fan. I think we've all known that this day is coming for quite some time, and I think that ESPN and College Game Day have positioned themselves very nicely to move on from Lee Corso. But it's just not going to be the same. The mascot tradition is over in College Game Day. They cannot do it with anybody else. They cannot replace it. Now, what I do think is going to happen, and I'm perfectly fine with this and I enjoy it, I think that Pat McAfee singing is going to be the new mascot head. You guys know I cheer for Missouri, and I have already envisioned this scenario. I believe that Missouri and Kansas are going to get game day for week 2 of the college football season. I've already started to look ahead a little bit. Missouri should be ranked. KU should be decent this year. It's the first time they've played in a long time. It's a rivalry game early in the season. Big 12 SEC. It's going to be beautiful in Columbia. There's a lot of reasons to think that that is where game day will be early on in the season. Can you just picture with me, Missouri fans, as they're going around, and who knows who will be the celebrity picker? Brad Pitt might be it, or John Hamm might be it. A lot of people could do it. But ultimately, you're waiting for Pat McAfee to start singing Mr. Brightside, and then all the students behind start singing it too as he picks Missouri to beat their rival for the first time since, 2007, 2008? Whenever it's been, it'll be a magical time. But I'm going to miss Lee Corso. I imagine it was just his time. It's time to move on from the show. As his health has started to decline a little bit and his productivity on the show has started to decline a little bit, it was time. I think the show is greatly positioned to move forward. I love the team that they have right now. I like Desmond Howard. I like Reese Davis. I think that Pat McAfee was exactly what this show needed with the energy. Herb Street's as good as anybody. And I think Nick Saban is really, really good at this. So, Rob, we got the news today that Lee Corso is retiring. He has one more show of College Game Day left. I know you're a big College Game Day fan. I am happy that I hope that Corso is going out the way that he wants to, and I know that ESPN and that show, they're going to give him the proper love and respect and send-off that he should get as somebody who is very, very important to that show.
I mean, it might sound hyperbolic, but it's not when I say that there is no one more synonymous with college football than Lee Corso, at least for our age. Think about it. Think of all his sayings that if I just said the saying, you'd be like, oh, that's a Lee Corso thing. Not so fast, my friend. Boy, that dog is ugly. Like, there are little things we can say, and you're like, oh, that's Lee Corso. College Game Day started, 97, 98? It was not really a thing until Lee Corso and co. made it a thing. The first college football video games, he was the color commentator with all the little finger and the pencil, and he was really impactful for an era of college sports, and I do hope that he's going out on his own terms. But what he did for college football is what Dickie V did for college basketball. He will always have a place in that sport. And you're right, the future does look bright without him on that show, but that show just won't feel the same without him, and I hope he gets the proper send-off. I think we as a sports community on September whatever week 1 is, maybe August 30th, whatever, wherever he's at, I think that will be the most watched game day, and we as a sports watching community will be sad but happy that he's walking off the show.
I think ultimately the goal of anybody that gets into this or any show that you create is that you want to shape the conversation. Say what you want about First Take, and I understand that some people are not fans of First Take. Some of you are fans of First Take. First Take absolutely shapes the conversation for the day about how we perceive whatever sport that it is, good or bad, for the day. College Game Day sets you up for a day of college football. It sets you up for the whole day. It sets the tone of it. Inside the NBA, you wait to hear their reaction for things that happen in the NBA because you want to know what Chuck thinks and how he's going to play off Shaq and how Kenny Smith is. College Game Day is one of those shows that has been at the forefront of shaping the college football conversation, and it is going through some necessary changes. That is how life usually works. Coming up on the other side, speaking of college, we're going to head to Lawrence, Kansas to be joined by the manager of the Kansas Jayhawks baseball team. They are 29-10. They got a sold-out weekend against K-State. Rob is calling them the Omahawks. We're going to head there next. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
There are some exciting new menu options at Gates Barbecue. It's Carrington Harrison here from The Drive, telling you about my favorite barbecue restaurant in town. Check out the Gates Burnt E Mac. It is some delicious mac and cheese that is topped with some Gates Burnt in. It's a meal all by itself. You also can get the onion ring split, so you get a little bit of that classic Gates fries. You also get some of their delicious onion rings. They also have the chicken link, which I had it a couple of days ago. Absolutely tender. It's got that classic Gates flavor, that seasoning to it. It's definitely worth checking out. It's getting warmer outside, so that means you are taking the grill out of the garage and you are planning on cooking for yourself. So Make sure you got some of that classic Gate sauce and seasonings for whatever your meal is. We're also heading into the summer and the spring, so the next time you go to the grocery store, make sure you're equipped for all of those things and make sure that you include Gates Barbecue. You don't have to just do that. Maybe you're still trying to figure out dinner plans. Go in today and make sure that you have that taken care of. There's a lot of barbecue options in town, but there's one that is a cut above the rest, and you know where it is. It's Gates Barbecue.
Honey, our new James Hardy siding from Powell Exteriors KC looks so good. Our house went from worst to first. The neighbor waved at me today with her whole hand. I'm ready for phase 2 of our home transformation. Let's call Powell about that new deck. They're offering financing at 0% for 18 months on everything. You should call today at 816-656-1160 or take another look at their stunning work on powellkc.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
During the NBA play-in tournament, FanDuel is giving all customers a shot at $250 in bonus bets. Join FanDuel today, and you'll get started with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. From three-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get in on all the NBA play-in tournament action. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that, and often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find that your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make the change for good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
John, what do you think about these tariffs? What do you think is going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The prices on used cars have suddenly come up because the cost has gone up. And at GiveMeTheVin.com, we're paying more. Go to GiveMeTheVin.com, put in your license plate, and see for yourself. We're paying more today than we were yesterday. Remember, the tariffs have raised the car prices, and we are paying extra. GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer. Sell us your car.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like finding a parking spot in front of a busy outdoor cafe where you're meeting some old friends from college.
Oh, a space!
And you're about to parallel park into that oh-so-tight spot. And then everyone in the cafe stops to watch. And you nail it in one try, like the parallel parking baller you are.
Mm-hmm. Boom.
Nobody clapped, but you know they really wanted to. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping, and you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
This is the story of the one Who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This afternoon, mix of showers, thunderstorms, then mostly sunny, high 82.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Our recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI will find you the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Be sure to follow The Drive on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back into The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. The same way that during college basketball season we adopted a team, we have decided to do that same thing now for college baseball. Baseball America predicts that one of the local schools could potentially go to the College World Series. We're very happy right now to be joined by the head coach of the Kansas Jayhawks baseball program. They are 29-10. Dan Fitzgerald joins us on the show today. Coach, happy to have you on today.
How are you?
What is it like to hear from the outside that there is an appreciation for the work that you guys are doing inside your program?
Yeah, you know, we spend so much time together as a team and try to be so locked in on the process and just going through it day to day and not really getting ahead of ourselves that I think sometimes we're a little, don't necessarily hear the noise outside. And then when you do get the vote of affirmation from somebody, it does feel like, okay, good. I know we feel good about where we're going, but obviously when other people notice, there's part of it that you think, great, that's a great encouragement. And then I think at the same time, man, with college guys, you're always quick to put it in check too and remind them that it's today's about us having a great practice and preparation for a good team this weekend.
For a lot of people, they maybe haven't seen minor league baseball or college baseball. They've just seen the pros. What's different about college baseball? What makes it a very fun and unique game?
Yeah, very different than professional baseball with, you start with the aluminum bats versus wood bats, certainly a different game. And, that big league baseball is obviously the highest form of the game we were a part of, but very different in that, in the big leagues, the home run, the strikeout, and the walk, the three absolute outcomes of an at-bat are, 75% of at-bats right now versus college. You still have a lot of things in between. The stolen bases in the big leagues have changed, where teams are stealing more now based off of the fact that you can only pick twice to a base. But the stolen base, for the most part, is still a huge part of college baseball. We play 56 games instead of 162, so there's a little bit more of a sprint to our season versus, in the big leagues, it is a marathon. So, I think there's a parity in college baseball right now that, with the transfer portal and NIL and all the different aspects of our evolving landscape have created just a lot of parity where anyone can really beat anyone on any given weekend. So it's an exciting game. I think enough people are familiar with it. Throwing on ESPN and watching the College World Series in June. But yeah, it's a great sport. It's rivalry heavy and yeah, obviously I love it. I'm pretty biased, but it is a fantastic game.
Right now, we're talking to Dan Fitzgerald, who is the head coach at Kansas. He coaches the baseball program. What it seems to me is the community has really rallied around you guys, and KU fans have really rallied around this team. That I don't want to say a lot of casual fans, but people who just want to see Kansas athletics do well, that you guys are having a great season. I mean, this weekend, you guys are sold out against K-State. It feels like your fan base has really rallied around this team.
No question. Our home opener, we had a couple huge student groups show up, and they were rowdy and fun and right above our dugout. And we hit a 2-run shot in the ninth to tie the game, and we walked it off with a grand slam and in extras. And there was a palpable energy to the ballpark. And The next night, those guys and about 500 others showed up. So we've just had an incredible fan following. And then we've always mixed in with the students. We've always had a ton of families and a ton of people from the community of Lawrence. So I think the influx has been a massive section of the student population. And they've really rallied behind our guys. I think our guys play really hard, and there is a real level of excitement that they've generated with how hard they play. So I think it's been the perfect storm of we've had great weather and some great opponents and some really close games that have probably hooked some people, and the community's really rallied around it.
I think a lot of people know this rivalry between KU and K-State from a basketball and football perspective. How does that energy, how does that intensity carry out to the Diamond?
Yeah, I think college athletics are they're so rivalry heavy and so rivalry dependent. And you can list off 100 different ones just off the top of your head and what they mean to each fan base. So, I would say that the Sunflower Shootout is important in basketball. It's important in football, but it really, every single time that K-State and Kansas play, it's a really big deal to the people of Kansas and the alumni groups and certainly the student athletes. And I think it's, again, the rivalries are so important to our game, and they unite fan bases and also create that healthy conflict between fan bases. So, at the end of the day, it's another game for us this tomorrow night, and then Saturday and Sunday, it's literally the same baseball game as if we were playing our opening weekend in Texas A&M Corpus Christi. But I do think the excitement inside the ballpark, the sold-out crowds are certainly going to add a great element to the rivalry.
I'll get you out of here with some rapid-fire questions. Let's start with this. Where are you at on Big League Chew? When was the last time you had Big League Chew?
Oh, like 2 weeks ago, I stole some from my kids. They had some in the car before one of their practices, and I grabbed a big chunk of that. Instant sugar rush.
I normally would ask, if you were a basketball coach to, tell us the story of, when you first dunked on somebody. I don't know if you've ever dunked on somebody, but I'm guessing at some point you hit a home run. Tell us about your first home run.
I have definitely never dunked on anyone. I was a hockey guy and can't dribble with my left hand, so basketball would not have worked. One of my great memories of baseball was when I was a senior in high school. We got to play at Siebert Field, which is the home of the Gophers, and this is old Siebert. And this is when the Gophers were, in the early to mid '90s when the Gophers were rolling. And I hit a first pitch of the game. Every year it grows about 10, 15 feet in terms of how far it went, but I hit a ball a billion miles out to right on the first pitch of the game, and that's my favorite home run I ever hit.
Who was the baseball players who batting stance you used to mimic the most? Just growing up in Kansas City, I'm not sure if you remember this player or not. They had Mike Aviles, and I just thought his batting stance was the coolest in the world when I was playing wiffle ball. When you were growing up, was there a baseball player you tried to mimic his swing?
Well, I think that's one of the great parts about when we were kids is that you imitated everyone's swing. And I loved Lenny Dykstra. He was such a hard-nosed, gritty guy. I remember trying to hit like him. I think as Twins fan, we all tried, hitting like Chuck Knobloch at times. I don't know if you remember how he used to lay the bat down and back. And then, there were a bunch of guys during our generation that had the unique stances. And actually, funny story, one of them being Craig Counsell, who Craig's, that would have been more towards, when I was in high school, that Craig was in college. He's a few years older than me, but, now, of course, the manager of the Cubs and his son Brady is one of our stud players. So, yeah, I think that's generationally, and you look now at our guys, and you got a bunch, someone will hit a home run in a big league game, and the next day one of our guys is trying to stand in the box like Shohei Ohtani. So I think that's one of the great things of in baseball lore.
And that was Dan Fitzgerald joining us on the show today. He is the manager of the Kansas Jayhawks for the the baseball program. They are getting ready for an important series this weekend against Kansas State. The Jayhawks are 28-10 and getting ready for their series against K-State. Coach, it was a lot of fun talking to you. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks, man. Rock chalk.
That is Dan Fitzgerald joining us on the show. Coming up, a little bit of breaking news in baseball. One team has already fired their hitting coach. What does that mean for the Royals? We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 5/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store single line activation on qualifying plan. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey baseball fans, go yard with BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. All season long, BetMGM is offering top odds on your favorite home run bets, fast and convenient ways to play same-game parlays, special boosts and tokens, and so much more. With BetMGM, you can be a part of every diving catch, every double play, every strikeout, and every home run from your favorite teams and players. And from the first pitch to the game-winning fireworks, there are more ways than ever to supercharge your excitement. Whether you want to combine multiple bets for the chance at a bigger payout or place a live bet as the game unfolds, BetMGM, the best place to bet the long ball, has all the home run betting options you could need. Download the BetMGM app, sign up and get your piece of MLB action. BetMGM is an official partner of Major League Baseball. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. First bet offers for new customers only. All other promotions for existing customers. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
The world is turning yellow with dandelions, and that means it's time for Weed and Feed. As step 2 of GrassPad's idiot-proof lawn care program, Weed and Feed is designed to control broadleaf weeds and feed the lawn. Throw it down on a wet lawn and let it sit on the leaf for 48 hours before mowing or watering. Keep the yard looking great this spring and get your Weed and Feed down today.
Come on down to the grass pad. The grass pad's high on grass.
Tonight, expect a mostly clear night with a low of 67.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Your chance to win $965 plus an autographed Chiefs helmet as part of our draft contest when we broadcast live from the Landing in Liberty during the first round on April 24th. The Fans Draft Party. 96.5 The Fan. KFMC FM and AM. HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station.
Now, I'm not expecting you guys to care about Colorado's Rockies news, but I do think you guys will find this interesting. The Rockies fired their hitting coach today. They have been struggling. They have made a decision in the first 3 weeks of the season we're not doing this anymore. They have now named Clint Hurdle. If you're a baseball person, you certainly know who that is. They have named him hitting coach for the remainder of the season. The Rockies have gotten off to a rocky start. Now, if you look at their offense, it is better than the Royals. I mean, across the board. Now, I understand ballpark, all that difference. I think we can all understand that. They are hitting a higher batting average than Kansas City. They have a higher OBP, a higher slugging percentage, a higher OPS. They have more hits in fewer games and fewer at-bats, more home runs, more RBIs. The Rockies' offense is better than the Royals. They have already made the decision, this is not good enough. We need to fire our hitting coach. Now, I'm not saying that all the Royals' offensive problems are one person's problem alone. They certainly have a lot of other problems, and the Rockies are a far worse team than the Royals are. The Rockies are 3-15. They're terrible. They're the worst team in baseball. I do wonder if the Royals are having internal conversations about that, because at least for me, this is not a early season problem. This has been a problem dating back to last year. It was a problem in the postseason. It has been their biggest problem through the early part of this season. And how long are the Royals willing to continue to do this without seeing some changes and without seeing some results in what they are doing? And what is usually the first domino to fall? Well, you can hand the public MJ Melendez, you can hand them Hunter Renfroe, or one thing that you usually can do is change the hitting voice. We see teams do this all the time. We see this happen in football where you change the play caller. At some point, the Royals early is going to expire, and we need to do something about this. And I don't think they're that far away from it. In fact, I think they're 2 weeks away from it. I don't think the Royals are going to continue to do what they've been doing for another month or so. I think they are giving this the rest of this road trip, possibly the next homestand when the schedule lightens up a little bit. And if they continue to do what they are doing, I think some changes are in line. I saw this stat earlier today. I can't remember exactly who put it out there, but shout out to them. The Royals have gone now 12 consecutive games scoring 4 or less run. Their franchise record is 19. So they might do better, they might do worse. Who knows how it is going to go? But we are talking about almost a 2-week stretch where this offense has struggled to get to 3 runs, and they have not scored more than 4. How much longer are the Royals willing to tolerate this? How much longer are they willing to do this? And now seeing it around baseball, everybody does not have its early stance. Some teams, albeit in a different position than you are in, have already pressed the panic button and have already determined who the culprit is for some of their problems, and they have determined that is the hitting coach.
So I get where you're coming from, and I understand the logic. I think the Royals are going to be more patient than the Rockies, but with most teams in baseball when it comes to their hitting coach, because as I read the release on Twitter that the Rockies have fired their hitting coach, they hired special assistant to the GM and former Major League manager Clint Hurdle to do it. You know what that sounds like to me? Remember the Royals fired their hitting coach? They brought in George Brett, because why not? That's how it sounds to me. The Rockies are a team that they're not hitting. They're doing nothing well. Let's bring in a guy that we think highly of, is in the organization. He's well regarded. Let's see if he for a year can get it right, and then we'll reset and find a new full-time hitting coach in October of next year, because the Rockies are not going to the playoffs. The Royals are in a different space to me. I'm not saying they're a lock to make the playoffs. You got to win more games than they have been to be a playoff team, but they're not as out of it as the Rockies are. The Rockies are 3-15.
They're terrible.
Me and you have more wins than them in Major League Baseball. They're bad. I think the Royals are going to be patient. I don't know if they're going to be super duper patient. I don't know if it's going to be July 1st, this team can't hit, and we're going to say, well, the hitting coach has to stay. But I think you're going to be having these hitting coach conversations closer to middle of May, Memorial Day, before the Royals eject, because there is no ready-made, oh, you fire him and then this guy will fix the problem. It is an off-season problem. The Rockies are just going to tape it together because who cares about what happens that rest of the year?
No, and maybe you're right. I'm looking at their lineup right now, and their lineup for today. Game, we're off at 4:30 today. It's India, Witt Jr., Pasquantino, Perez, Massey, Garcia, Biggio, Waters, and Kyle Isbell. The plan is just to keep trotting out this same lineup day after day, and just one day we will wake up and the problems will be fixed? Is that the expectation? Because they have not hit at any point this season so far. And if you're telling me, hey, the patience is going to be, hey, we're going to give this a couple more weeks, we're going to see if it's going to happen, cool. That's what we've been doing so far. But what is going to be the change to shake this thing up? And I think it just, I really think this conversation with the Royals depends on what you see their starting point as. And I think there's some people that see their starting point dating back to last year and looking at this as a September and April problem, or people that are just looking at this as you're only looking at the first 3 weeks of the season. I can't tell you if you are right or wrong on this thing, but their offense has been in this rut for quite some time. And if the plan is keep chipping away, eventually things will turn around, well, all right, cool. When are we setting the date to where something needs to happen in this offense? Are we giving it another month? Are we giving it another 2 weeks? I think ultimately the Royals are the only people that can answer that question. But they got to figure out some way to score more than what they are doing. They have to figure that out.
I agree with that. I also wonder, and maybe this is wrong by me to think, how much of this is a hitting coach problem and how much of this is just, a talent problem? Because you're right. Some people are going to say this was it has dated back to last year. Why is it not fixed situation? I also tell you that before the Vinny injury last year, the offense was good. Same hitting coach, same lineup. So something changed. Did they all just get worse? Did they get cold outside? I don't know. But it's not like I'll pick on Kevin Biggio. It's not like Kevin Biggio was in Toronto and he was hitting 375 and was, an all-star, and wow, he just was tearing the cover off the ball. And then he showed up in Kansas City and suddenly he can't hit. He couldn't really hit there. He can't really hit here. Sometimes take a risk on a player like that and you hope to, get a little more out of them. You're not going to make them from quadruple A player to all-star. I think some of the Royals' problems and the bottom of their lineup problems are talent problems. Hunter Renfroe is probably going to be out of baseball in 3-4 months. He starts on your team pretty consistently. That's not a hitting coach isn't getting through to him situation. That's a Hunter Renfroe doesn't have it anymore situation. So the Royals' offensive problems, I think, are more than just a hitting coach away. It could be the hitting coach. It could be the players responding to the hitting coach. It could be outside factors. It could be the pressing. It could be, there's a dozen different things. I think the Rockies are so bad, they have to give you someone. I don't know the Royals are at that level yet, that they're so bad.
I hear what you're saying is, I would say whoever's been working for MJ Melendez, maybe you should stop talking to him. Maybe you should stop talking to him. This is a very talented player who just a couple of years ago, we looked at his tools and felt like there was some promise there. All offseason, they told us they fixed this problem. We worked on his swing. We fixed it. He has 50 at-bats so far this season. He has 1 RBI, and it was on a solo home run that he hit. He's hitting .085. So I hear what you're saying. Again, I'm not here to put all of the problems with the Royals offense on one person. It is not one hitting coach. It's not MJ Melendez. It's not Hunter Renfroe. Do you trust the person that you have in charge to help get you out of this rut? Because what it sounds like to me, and maybe this is a cynical way of looking at it, is we just got to sit around and wait for Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez to figure this thing out. We don't have any solutions to curing the problem other than that. That sounds like we've been saying that for 2 weeks now. Well, when's Salvi going to hit? When Vinny's going to hit? We don't trust that anybody else in this lineup can hit. We just have to sit and wait around for those two guys to hit. So, okay, if that's what we're doing, I'm cool with that plan. Salvi's not hitting his normal. Neither is Vinny Pasquantino. Those two guys are hitting around 200 right now and not really driving in runs and not really driving the ball for you. But it would go a whole lot easier and putting those guys in positions where they can drive runs if you could shore up some of the things that you have from 5 through 9 in the order, because they appear to be lost at that stage. They appear to be lost. This team at no point has looked like a functional offense at any point this season, and I don't think it really shown you a lot of signs that they are close to turning it around. But it's baseball. It takes one day. You go out there today, you score 13 runs, and now you start to build some momentum, and you really start to pick up on it. But maybe where you and I are a little bit different is I think the situation's a little bit more dire than you. It's not a code red. I don't even think it's like a bright orange. They've been like this offensively now for dating back to last year, for about 60 games when it comes to their offense. We are talking about a pretty prolonged period of you not trusting or knowing if this team can score 3 or 4 runs consistently. 12 straight games. They're close to the franchise record of doing that, and we have seen some bad Royals offenses in our day. There's too much talent on this team for them to be as bad as they've been offensively for as long as they've been offensively. We got Jay Binkley coming up in studio coming up in about an hour or so. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with C-Dot on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Red Hot Car Giveaway, only at Harris, Kansas City. Saturday, April 26th, one lucky winner will win a brand new Red Hot Lexus ES350. Harris is giving away $2,500 in free play every 15 minutes from 7 p.m. till 10:45 p.m. At 11, 2 winners will receive $5,000 in free play, and 1 person will win $10,000 cash. And 1 person drives home a brand new Lexus ES350. Visit our website for full details. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The other place with 5 great Kansas City locations, Shawnee, Olathe, the downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. With 5 locations, that means you're never too far away from that one-of-a-kind game day experience, plus enough big screens that you'll never miss a second of the action. And if you want some great food, some great beer specials, and beautiful patios, then stop by the other place. The perfect place to make your baseball headquarters this spring. The other place, Shawnee, Olathe, the downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton. Your home for baseball this spring.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey there, I'm Jack.
And I'm Stag.
We're just 2 deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks. You know, like us.
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
Here's today's 6-man picks, presented by DraftKings Pick 6.
The play-in tournament wraps up tomorrow night, and 2 guards caught our eye. Consider picking Tyler Herro to score more than 26.5 points. He's coming in hot after an exceptional shooting performance against Chicago. On the other side, consider taking Trae Young to have more than 27.5 points. He sets the tone for this Atlanta offense, and has eclipsed this number in his last 2 games.
Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and lock in your picks before tip-off with code MyPicks. That's code MyPicks for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Spring into deals with fresh savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 4 Stay Green or Premium 2 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 35% off select major appliances and save $50 on every $500 you spend on select LG appliances. Shop in-store or online today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/30. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See associate at Lowe's.com for more details or qualifying items. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Selling your home
It's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. You could go it alone, trying to navigate market trends, determine fair pricing, and tackle tricky negotiations on your own. You could second-guess every decision, wondering if you're doing it right. Then there's the showings, the offers, and the mountain of paperwork. Or you could work with the expertise of a realtor, here to guide and help protect as you make your next big move. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Two-car crash northbound 435. That's just past Truman. It is on the shoulder, but traffic is heavy back to that 435 and 70 exchange. Also heavy southbound 435 up to that collision and back before 210 highway. Also heavy into downtown on northbound 35 and northbound 71. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Vinny Pasquantino. Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
All right, I want to do this. Let's talk a little bit of college. We'll also get back to the Chiefs and the NFL draft. Indulge me for just a little bit. Now, I will admit that I have been on a little bit of a crusade, that I've been banging the drum, that the way that college sports is currently operating, this is not a sustainable long-term model, and we need to work together to find a better model. I'm going to play some audio for you here coming up in just a bit. But before we do that, Rob, I bet you did not know this. In fact, I don't know if any of you knew this. Did you guys know that the player of the year in every mid-major has transferred this offseason? They have either transferred this offseason or graduated and are out of eligibility. Think about that. The best player in the Atlantic 10, the best player in the Missouri Valley, the best player in the AAC. Every mid-major player of the year after their season entered the transfer portal and have now moved up to the next level. So all March, when we were talking about, well, what killed Cinderella? Why are there no upsets? Because if you have a good player and they are at Tulsa, there is no chance for you to keep them that next season. If you have a good player and they play for Norfolk State or VCU, or you pick the mid-major program that you've heard of, Colorado State, whatever program you've heard of, if you have that caliber of player, you have a 0% chance at retaining that player. And is that a model that we want to continue to have where you can never build anything if you are a mid-major under the current system? If you are a college basketball coach and a kid falls through the cracks and the big schools don't recruit him, and man, you do everything you're supposed to do. You go to all his high school games, you text, you recruit him, and you give him the attention that North Carolina and Duke and none of those schools are willing to give him. You give him a scholarship offer, the first D1 scholarship offer. You turn him into a really productive player. That player will leave you the first chance he can. And a school's going to come in and offer them more money, a bigger opportunity, and you have no chance at retaining that player. And is that a system that we want to continue? Now, I have been banging this drum, and maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but people that know far more about this than me are telling us how we can fix this. Here's Jay Billis.
The NCAA used to die on the hill of amateurism in court. Now they're dying on the employment hill. They can't be employees. We can't have them as employees. Don't understand that because students are employees at every school in the country in different capacities, non-athlete students. But if they would just sign the players to contracts, if you don't want to collectively bargain, if you collectively bargain with the players, you can certainly do all the things that the NBA or the NFL do with salary caps because you're in a partnership with players. But if you don't want to do that, all you have to do is sign them to a contract. But the NCAA won't allow that right now. So you negotiate with a player. If you were recruiting me, which you would never do again after the first time, but if you were recruiting me, you'd say, hey, we're willing to offer you a 3-year deal with an option for a 4th. If you get arrested, we get to terminate. It's mandatory class attendance. You have to do this, this, and this. And there's going to be a buyout in there. We negotiate the amount of the buyout. So if I wanted to leave, go somewhere else, I'd have to pay the buyout, or my new school would have to pay the buyout. It's pretty simple. It's really not that big of a deal.
I don't know if there is a better advocate for college basketball and or the college athlete than Jay Billis. Some of the problems that we have in college sports could be fixed if we just treated them more like employees. And you could sign an employee to a contract. And that doesn't mean that every single kid is going to stay. Of course not. Coaches move on and take better opportunities. So do the players. And that's perfectly fine. It would put the mid-major school in a much better position if instead of what happens now is Kansas can just come take your best player. North Carolina can just come take your best player. Well, at least you got to break them off a little compensation, and now you can use that compensation to build your athletic structure and give yourself a more viable chance of competing on this landscape. But what we allowed to have happen now is, with no rules, that the big schools can just come in and take all of the resources from the smaller school and leave the smaller school with nothing. And some of this, not all of it, some of it could be fixed if we just simply stop denying what is true. These athletes are employees of the university. They come to these universities to work for them. And some students go to work in the administration's department. Some go work in another department. These students choose to come work for them in the athletic department. Well, then make them employees. And let's create a structure in which it's viable, in which it works. But we don't seem to really have too much interest in doing that. We had an NIL lawyer on the show, and he is emphatic. The NCAA doesn't want to do what seems like a very obvious fix to me.
They do not want college athletes right now to be considered employees. They think it's going to cost too much, and they're worried about some of the other sports not being able to afford them. So they're still actively fighting against that and are actually asking Congress to pass a law right now that says college athletes cannot be employees. So that's kind of the wild card in this whole situation. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm on the same page with you. I think at the highest level, college football and basketball and probably some other sports too, the athletes are professional athletes and they're professional sports. And we have models that work to manage those sports like you have in the NFL and the NBA. So I think that's where things will eventually get to. It's just a matter of how long until people do determine that, all right, let's pursue that model because we think that's how it's going to work.
We allowed the NCAA for generations to tell us that the athletes had no value and that a scholarship was enough. And then eventually a change happened and they were unprepared for it. That same thing is happening again. Are we going to allow the NCAA to continue to be part of the problem or active in trying to find the solution? I love college sports. I imagine many of you also love college sports. It is a lot of good things. It is a lot of meaningful things. like most other entities, it is also some bad things. And in those bad things, the NCAA can either continue to fight against it and try to solve some of them, or they can continue to sit on their hands and act like there is not a fire that's going on inside college athletics. But a fire is happening right now, and they are doing absolutely nothing to try to help put that fire out. Every mid-major player that won Player of the Year has transferred out and has gone up to a higher level. Every single one. And is that what we want college basketball to be? At this point, they're not mid-majors anymore. We got to start looking at it like this. There is a major league club, and then there is single A, double A, and triple A. That's how it is right now. And at least in the minor league system, they're all working together. The A, the double A, and the triple A club, they're all under the same roof. They're all under the same umbrella. You can send guys up and down. That ain't how it is right now. Hey, we're not recruiting high school kids. We'll let you recruit the high school kids. We don't want to do that work anymore. We'll just let the kid get really good. He'll average 17. He'll shoot 42% from three, and then we'll come recruit him, and we'll take him from you. I don't think that's what we want college basketball to be, but that is where we currently sit with college basketball. All right, let's move on from that. Let's get back to the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's get back to talking about the NFL draft. Brett Veach met with the media earlier today. Here's what he said the goal is this offseason regarding Trey Smith.
We get that done. I mean, there's no lack of interest or will or desire on our end. And we did have, Pete, a ton of talk with Torrey and Jimmy, his agents at the Combine. Those conversations continued on to the owners' meetings. And so now also CAA has a ton of draft prospects, and they have a ton going on. So, we've exchanged multiple phone calls, multiple emails. And, my guess is once the draft's over and our focus is back on taking care of the players that are here and trying to get those guys locked up, and CAA on their end. I mean, they have, again, they're one of the leading agencies in regards to the players they produce every year. So I'm sure once things settles down on both ends, we'll be in a position to continue this dialogue and hopefully make some progress there. But there's no secret there. We'd like to get Trey locked up.
Do you think they get Trey locked up this offseason? I know that we have to deal with the NFL draft, and that is the bigger thing because it's right here in front of us, and I'm not naive enough to think that they are reaching a long-term extension with Trey Smith next Wednesday. I don't think there's really a reason to. What are you creating cap space for? There's no reason to create cap space during that period. But I would say this offseason, it's not just looking at it through a one-year vacuum. It's the next 2-year vacuum. And how you handle Trey Smith and what's your negotiating power there, which opens you up and gives you the cap space to also look ahead and take care of some of your other issues, is really, really important in how they want to do this. I think the Chiefs have the ability to not reach an extension with Trey Smith this offseason. They really do have the ability to do it. They're not in any danger of losing Trent McDuffie this offseason. They're not in the danger of losing George Karlaftis this offseason. What we're really talking about is time. And every day that you don't sign Trent McDuffie, you run the risk of the price going up. And can you live with that price going up? The price right now is probably, $30 million a year? I mean, that's what we just saw Derek Stingley get. It's around $30 million. I mean, whenever you really sat down at the computer and really tried to get this done, what used to be $30 million might be $35 million. Players are not getting cheaper in the NFL at those positions. They're getting more expensive. If you think you got a 24, 25-year-old corner, the number is only going up. If you think you have a very talented pass rusher like George Karlaftis, the number is only going up. And do you want to try to reach that contract before the number increases, or are you willing to wait and you're willing to pay a little bit more a year from now when your salary cap situation could be drastically different?
So to answer your first question, I do think they get a Trey Smith deal done. Eventually. I think it will be probably like June, July. I don't think there's any rush on either side to get a deal done. The Chiefs know they have him locked up, and Trey Smith knows I'm getting paid this amount no matter what. But before we take the next step here, if they don't get Trey Smith done to a long-term deal, I will be very frustrated back here. I don't know that it's 5-alarm fire, but it will be a very heated frustration if they cannot get Trey Smith on a long-term deal. Now, I don't know what the long-term deal is going to look like. I don't know the logistics of what, but I'll tell you this. If we are going into St. Joe and we're leaving St. Joe and we're headed to week 1, whoever they play, wherever they play, it could be Brazil. If the Chiefs are boarding a plane for Brazil and Trey Smith is playing on the franchise tag, that is a cataclysmic error by the organization. So I think we'll get something done. So there's no reason to bring that up. But I just wanted that on the record that would be a major problem. I think they will get something done. I also think they're going to get one of those two guys done long-term this offseason. When Brett Veach was at his best, like as far as extending players, he was always ahead of the curve. They got Mahomes done early. They got Travis Kelce done early. The first time with Chris Jones, they got Chris. Remember that summer 2020? They were getting everyone locked up, and they were getting everyone locked up early. They were checking every box. And then, there's a Super Bowl tax, whatever it is, they started getting behind the 8 ball with getting extensions done. I think this offseason, at some point, they get Trey Smith done, and I think we also get the ESPN alert, whatever, either Karlaftis or McDuffie also got done, because I think the organization is smart enough to know they don't want to be behind the 8 ball again because you end up paying a higher premium for a Nick Bolton and Trey Smith, and they see, let's get one of them knocked out now and get ahead of it.
Why do you think, and I'd love to ask Brett Veach this question. I wish we had gotten Veach this year instead of when we got Andy Reid. I wish we had gotten the other way around. Why do you think the Chiefs aren't more proactive in getting these deals done? And in a lot of ways, they have been reactive in getting these deals done. I mean, they were reactive, I would say, when it came to Orlando Brown's contract. They were reactive when it came to Chris Jones' deal. And they let the Chris Jones deal get really, really bad. Bad to the point where he sat out a regular season game when eventually you just paid him. Like, we can now go back and forth, and maybe you think that Chris Jones was wrong. Maybe you think that the agents were wrong. Maybe you think the Chiefs are wrong. In the end, Chris Jones got exactly what he wanted. He wanted a long-term extension that made him the highest paid player, and he wanted to also stay on the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, we could have skipped all the shenanigans if they were going to do that from the very, very beginning. If you knew as an organization that you wanted to pay Trey Smith, why are we now, well, he's under the franchise tag, and now we have to do this. If you know you want to pay Trent McDuffie, if you know you want to pay George Karlaftis, why do they usually take it to the final hour, or you're negotiating based off of the franchise tag and not based off directly what his rookie deal is? I just wonder why they choose to handle their contract extensions that way. Now, they've been proactive with one player, and that has helped them in a lot of ways. They're very proactive with Patrick Mahomes. And part of why we can even have these conversations is because their contract negotiation with Mahomes was so unique and so forward-thinking, it has allowed them to kind of handle some of these other situations the way that they've handled them. But franchise tagging your right guard is not a great financial decision. The Chiefs do a lot of really good things. Putting your right guard on a $20-something million franchise tag is not great cap management. For all the love that we shower on Brett Veach, this is not the way that most teams would handle their right guard, especially when he came out today and said, we need to handle our right guard, and then we'll handle our very talented cornerback and defensive lineman. You got this thing all backwards if that's the order that we're doing this thing is. Trent McDuffie should have been priority number 1, and then we'll see where we go from there. That's how I would have handled it.
I don't know the answer. You're right. I would have loved to ask Brett Veach. And, even if we had Brett Veach for a one-on-one, I don't think he was going to say, yeah, here was the deal. We screwed up X, Y, and Z. I don't think that was going to happen. But they are still kind of proactive with some people. It just seems like they're not I don't know what the difference is here. Because remember, it may have been July, maybe in August, they got Creed Humphrey locked up. They took their center. They took the quarterback of their offensive line. They identified he was a guy they wanted to keep long-term. And before going into the final year of his deal, they made him the highest paid center in the NFL. They saw the long-term vision. They saw the idea. We don't want to be up against the clock with Creed Humphrey. They did it. They did everything me and you were asking them to do. But then they were unable to do it with Trey Smith and Nick Bolton. What was different? Is it just the agents? Is it the money? Is it you were hoping for the raised cap? So I don't know the answer, but there are times where Brett Veach and co., they see it. They know what everyone knows. Get ahead of it. there are other times where I know they know that, and yet they find themselves in the 11th hour. Like, I know Nick Bolton didn't get super duper money, but you know where he would have been cheaper? Last offseason. That's when to get that done, but they didn't get it done. They got Creed Humphrey done and Harrison Butker done. Something is not clicking. Maybe it's the agents. I don't know, but there has got to be a reason why they're late with some and early with others.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say just for an exercise. And I think you and I are maybe the biggest proponents of a positional value than anybody. Like, I don't think the text line cares about it the way that you and I care about it. That's perfectly fine. I mean, right now, their right guard is the 4th highest paid player on their team. He's the fourth highest paid player on their team. If you were going off right now what their cap hit is heading into the season, Patrick Mahomes has the largest cap hit, which is obvious. Jawan Taylor is number 2. Chris Jones is number 3. Travis Kelce is number 5. And then Trey Smith is number 4. I mean, right now, if you're looking at their cap situation, I don't want to make it seem like they are in salary cap hell. They're not in salary cap hell. A right tackle that we all think is overpaid, a right guard, and a tight end that everyone thinks this is his last final year. It ain't a great allocation of the funds that they have right now. It's not ideal. And that's why, at least for me, I view this draft as, I look at this draft as an ability to move forward, and what I think their focus should really be. Their focus should be in dynamic skill position players under the age of 25 and young, impactful pieces on their defense that they are moving forward, and this is the future of our defense. This is the future of our defense. And if they think that Nick Bolton's part of their future, they obviously do. They just paid him. Great. The future of their defense then should be on all 3 levels. George Karlaftis, Nick Bolton, and McDuffie. We have a very talented, under 27-year-old, we think Pro Bowl, all pro caliber player at all 3 levels, and that's how we are building this team. That's how I think that their salary cap and how I think the resources should be allocated. And let's see this offseason and how they handle their draft. Let's see if that's kind of how they get their books in order, so to speak.
I think I will be fascinated by what goes on after this offseason because they got linebacker lined up. They got right guard lined up. Me and you, and you're right. I think we're the only people that care. Their next wave of contracts are all positions that are more important than what they've done. Like, maybe, I don't know, you don't think Karlaftis is that kind of guy, you'll walk on him. Trent McDuffie is that dude. Maybe you don't think Jalen Watson's that guy, but he's in their corner who's going to be coming up soon, Joshua Williams. Maybe you don't think he's that guy. He's in their corner who will be coming up soon. Like, Felix has not lived up to the hype, but he also plays a premium position. Like, maybe Jalen Moore isn't the answer at left tackle. You might have left tackle, right tackle, corner, DN to get figured out next offseason. That's a nightmare position to be in. You don't have to be chasing the biggest ticket items. You want to go to an offseason saying, hey, we need to find a linebacker, a safety, and, a backup tight end. The Chiefs might not have that situation, so they need to get Trey Smith done and then get ahead of the curve on the next couple of guys.
I think the best way to maybe sum this up is, and we can wrap this conversation up. I think the best way to sum this up is right now, and I understand this is before they reach an extension with Trey Smith, more of their cap space is allocated for Jawan Taylor and Trey Smith than for Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. More of their cap space is locked up. Jawan Taylor almost counts for 10% of their salary cap. Jawan Taylor. And right now, Trey Smith accounts for about 8.5%. If you add that up, they spend more on their cap than their starting quarterback and their number 1 offensive playmaker position. I think their cap is a little bit off based on how I think they should be building their roster. And we'll see this offseason if they can kind of get that back in line. There's nothing they can do about Jawan Taylor. You just got to take your medicine for this year. You are not restructuring. You're not moving money around. You got to get through this year with him. You get that contract off the books, and now you spread that money. Hopefully you spread it to a corner. Hopefully you spread it to a DN. Hopefully you spread that towards paying a wide receiver and trying to strengthen those options. That's what I think they need to do with the cap. Coming up on the other side, you know what? I never thought I would say this, but I actually miss an argument that we used to have. We'll talk about it next. Keep right here. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
For the first time in a long time, I'm willing to dream that this can be a special season for the Missouri Tigers.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan.
During the NBA play-in tournament, FanDuel is giving all new customers a shot at $250 in bonus bets. Join FanDuel today. You'll get started with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. From three-pointers to steals to assists to who you think will get a double-double, who you think will make the first basket of the game. FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite player props. Plus, even after a game tips off, you can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win real big. So visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to get in on all the NBA play-in tournament action. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued with non-withdrawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Get in with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
It's your weekly O'Reilly Auto Parts checkup. Have leftover or used oil or a dead battery laying around? Visit your local O'Reilly store and take advantage of free fluids and battery recycling.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Here's today's six-man picks, presented by DraftKings Pick 6.
The play-in tournament wraps up tomorrow night, and two guards caught our eye. Consider picking Tyler Harrow to score more than 26.5 points. He's coming in hot after an exceptional shooting performance against Chicago. On the other side, consider taking Trae Young to have more than 27.5 points. He sets the tone for this Atlanta offense and has eclipsed this number in his last two games.
Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and lock in your picks before tip-off with code MyPicks. That's code MyPicks for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void or prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Hi, this is Toby Tobin along with Jason Goodenkoff from Lewisburg Ford in Lewisburg, Kansas. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Toby.
Holy cow, you've done it again.
We've done it again, Toby. We won the President's Award again this year. This is the 22nd time we've been awarded this awesome honor from Ford Motor Company.
But what is the President's Award?
The President's Award is the top award Ford Motor Company gives its dealers for excellence in customer satisfaction in both sales and service and their sales penetration numbers. So we are super honored to have received this award for the 22nd time.
It covers the whole works at Lewisburg Ford.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to the awesome people we have working at Lewisburg Ford and helping our customers, and it really shows with this award because it's only a few dealers that get it, and we've done it 22 times.
I guarantee you this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck in the Midwest.
Absolutely. You couple that President's Award lineage with our no-hassle Toby Tobin pricing, it does not get any better than that.
What is your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Or LewisburgFord.com.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunk Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on two wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Are you feeling tired, maybe a little foggy, or just not like yourself? Well, it could be low T. Symptoms like low energy, poor sleep, and a lack of motivation. They don't have to control your life. And at Heartland Men's Health, they specialize in treating low testosterone and helping men regain their vitality and confidence. With just a simple, quick quiz at heartlandmenshealth.com, you can find out if you're experiencing low T, and then you can book a $100 consultation. They'll run your labs, and within 30 minutes, you'll have your answers. And if you start treatment that day, then the visit is on the house. In just weeks, you'll feel more energy, get better sleep, improve workouts, and have a stronger sex drive. So don't let this hold you back. Pick up the phone. Don't wait. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com today. Heartland Men's Health has 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Reclaim your energy and confidence today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Results every week and then receive free support for life. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey guys, it's Cody Tapp, and I'm down 30 pounds in 6 weeks thanks to Awaken 180 Weight Loss. And now I get free support for life. Make the same great decision I did and give them a call, 844-346-1800, or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
James Heavy, southbound 71 from MLK through 85th Street. Slow into downtown, northbound 35 at that 435 and 70 exchange. It is heavy eastbound 70 out of the exchange. Northbound 435, we are seeing slowdowns from behind Truman Road where there is a stalled car, mostly a distraction, but again, heavy from Truman to 270 on that 435 northbound lane. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Welcome to your home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan.
We got Bink set to join us coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Really excited to talk to Bink about the draft. He's going to join us more next week, but we're just kind of getting ready. We are 1 week away from round 1 of the draft. You know what I determined? Even though we argue about it, you know what would have made this offseason a little bit more fun? And maybe the draft will allow us to have this player. We don't have that one player that we're all debating right now with the Chiefs. We usually have it. Jody Fortson, for example. You know, you guys were really high on Jody Fortson and believed in Jody Fortson. And we don't have that guy this year. I kind of miss it. The reason I was thinking of this is, you know, the Cody and Gold garage sale. They do this every year where they just accumulate these random trinkets. And I was getting ready for the show, and Cody came up to me and said, look at this. And I'm like, all right, cool. What is it? He handed me it was an official Chiefs helmet. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. What is it? Like, why is it special? Like, look who signed it. It was Luis Rees-Zammit. Now, I know text line, you're all going to make it seem like you never believed, but I was here. I remember there were a lot of you thought the Chiefs were smarter than everybody else. Oh, my goodness. They got this rugby player. This was an untapped resource the Chiefs had figured out. He was going to factor in. You thought he was going to be like Travis Hunter. It was great. It was kind of fun having that. We don't have it anymore. You remember those little training camp videos with Justin Ross? I mean, if there is no player in Chiefs history that looked better with no pads on than Justin Ross. Those 2 years, and then there was one offseason, the Chiefs, they even knew about it. They were giving you slow motion 4K training camp, mini camp videos. He was on the sideline looking like Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, it used to be fun. We don't have that right now. Who's the Deneric Prince of this team? Do we have a Deneric Prince? Do we have a Darwin Thompson that gets everybody excited? You know what I really want to come from this draft? What I really want is I want them to draft a 6th round running back. I want them to draft a 6th round running back that we've heard of before. And I want all of us to rally around this one individual. That's what makes me feel alive as a sports talk host. Rob, they're not giving me any of that. Who's that guy right now on the team? That guy used to be Carson Steele. He fumbled that one time. Y'all was ready to get rid of Carson Steele. He's not around anymore. I mean, I know he's on the team, but he might as well not be on the team. We haven't talked about Carson Steele in 7 months. Can we get that guy back on the Chiefs? Can we get that guy back onto the show? Because we need that guy onto the show. They don't have him right now, and that kind of disappoints me a little bit.
To be fair, what makes it even better is when Chiefs fans fall in love with LRZ or Jody Fortson or, Justin Ross. This show stands as a beacon in the light of settle down. And people get mad at us.
Every time.
And it's
every time.
It brings me they need they don't need to draft anyone. They need an undrafted free agent who plays the position they need. It could be offense or defense. Go get Alabama's 4th string edge rusher. And let the text line tell me that he played at Bama and he's about to become something you've never seen before. And then I say he couldn't play at Bama. Why do you think he's going to play in the league? And people get mad. That's one of the cornerstones of this show.
You know what, though? This is what I've determined. I'm not going to do that this year. That person will emerge at some point. I didn't do that last year for Carson Steele. You remember?
You were on the Carson Steele
I was one of the
bandwagon.
people that were arguing for Carson Steele.
You were part of the mob that was wrong. People were telling me, Rob, I don't know if you've seen him run, but he's basically a 1,000-yard back at Ball State. He's nothing.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I liked that. I was a fan of it. That's what I want him to do. Somebody said, what about Tyquan Thornton? Nah, he's already played for other teams. Y'all not going to get excited about Tyquan Thornton. Y'all not going to get excited about him. He's just way too far down the depth chart. No, way too far down it. That's what I want, though. That's what I'm cheering for. I will say, man, you guys, it's way too early with the Royals. That man, Carson Steele, he fumbled that one time. Y'all get his ass out of here. It was fun with Carson Steele up until that point. He had the long hair. He was Crocky J. And, man, we loved it. We loved it. Not no more, though, man. It's sad. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I would certainly love it. I would certainly love it if it happens. Someone said, what about Noah Gray? You know what? The text line was really excited about Noah Gray, and I actually think that was really good. I actually thought that was the Noah Gray thing made sense to me. You guys don't shoot 0% from the field. You guys get some guys right.
I mean, sure. they were right about Pacheco.
100%. No, I will say that. The text line and Chiefs Twitter was very high on Isaiah Pacheco, and they were 100% right. 100% right. Yeah, draft Chiefs Twitter in the draft, they get things right too. No, 100%. Coming up, speaking of the draft, very excited to be joined in studio by Jay Binkley. We'll get his thoughts on this. We'll get his thoughts about what we heard from Brett Veach earlier today. We'll also go through his mock draft. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison, your home for the best food takes in KC.
Regular old American nachos. I don't need jalapenos with mine, just chips, cheese.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Things heavy southbound 71 from MLK through 85th Street. Slow into downtown northbound 35 at that 435 and 70 exchange. It is heavy eastbound 70 out of the exchange. Northbound 435, we are seeing slowdowns from behind Truman Road where there is a stalled car, mostly a distraction, but again, heavy from Truman to 270 on that 435 northbound lane. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement, and And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
The 96.5 The Fan ticket window is open. Head to the contest page at 965thefan.com for your chance to score tickets to see Blink 182 with Alkaline Trio at T-Mobile Center Saturday, September 27th. Must be 18 to enter and win. Good luck.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
Hello, Kansas. Looks like we're in for another heat wave this season with a forecasted high of up to $300,000. That's right. The Kansas Lottery is bringing the heat with the Hot Sevens family of tickets rolling across our state. You could instantly win up to $300,000. Plus, there's even a chance at up to $20,000 in the second chance drawing through Play On. Talk about a scorcher. Don't forget your oven mitts when you head out today. See kslottery.com for details.
Whether you're digging a pond, clearing brush, grading property, or doing demo, Foley Equipment, your local Caterpillar dealer, is your one-stop shop. Buy or rent, Foley Equipment has the machines you need to get the job done. And right now, Foley has 0% financing on new cat skid steers, mini excavators, and compact track loaders. Stop by any Foley Equipment location today or visit us at FoleyEQ.com. That's FoleyEQ.com.
Hey baseball fans, go yard with BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. All season long, BetMGM is offering top odds on your favorite home run bets, fast and convenient ways to play same-game parlays, special boosts and tokens, and so much more. With BetMGM, you can be a part of every diving catch, every double play, every strikeout, and every home run from your favorite teams and players. And from the first pitch to the game-winning fireworks, there are more ways than ever to supercharge your excitement. Whether you want to combine multiple bets for the chance at a bigger payout, or place a live bet as the game unfolds, BetMGM, the best place to bet the long ball, has all the home run betting options you could need. Download the BetMGM app, sign up and get your piece of MLB action. BetMGM is an official partner of Major League Baseball. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. First bet offers for new customers only. All other promotions for existing customers. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
At Busey Bank and CrossFirst Bank, we're partnering together to help make your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth and partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Together, we're building extraordinary impact in business, wealth, and community. Busey Bank and CrossFirst Bank. Member FDIC.
Looking for the best food, drinks, and game day vibes? The Landing Eatery and Pub in Liberty has you covered. Happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 to 7 p.m. with great drink specials. Game day buckets, 5 beers or seltzers. Keep the party going Saturday and all day Sunday. Catch every play on over 68 TVs while enjoying our massive 102-item menu. Love live music? Our neon-lit smoking patio has bands Thursday through Sunday. Don't miss out. Check out our daily specials at landingeateryandpub.com.
If you're like me and you're trying to break through that boring lunch routine, I've got the option for you. I discovered lunch at Hy-Vee Market Grill. Forget the after-lunch fast food coma. The Hy-Vee Market Grill offers fast and fresh options with made-to-order burgers, salads, sandwiches, and wraps like the 3-cheese patty melt, the crispy chicken or Cobb salad, BLT or tenderloin sandwich, and my personal favorite, the peanut butter bacon burger. For high quality and great value, freshen up your lunch routine at the Hy-Vee Market Grill today.
Hop into Hy-Vee for all your Easter needs, like baskets, candy, chocolate bunnies, and more. Treat your family to Easter brunch at the Market Grill. Just $24.99 for adults, $7.99 for children, and kids 5 and under eat free. Staying home? Try Hy-Vee's Easter meal deal for just $30. Get all the fixins you need to feed your ducklings spiral sliced ham, russet potatoes and gravy, green bean casserole, and bakery fresh rolls. Make this your most excellent Easter ever, only at Hy-Vee.
We're talking with Dr. David Bach, board-certified urologist at Kansas City Urology Care. What's the most important thing men should know about prostate cancer?
I would strongly recommend PSA testing. It's a simple blood test. It's inexpensive, and basically every male over 50 should be having this PSA once a year. Prostate cancer is the second leading cancer killer of men.
And why should they go to KCUC?
We not only treat more prostate cancer than anyone else in this part of the country, we also start with cutting-edge diagnostics who offer the most precise diagnoses of prostate cancer using ultrasounds and MRI. We can offer surgical, medical, and radiation types of treatments. And even for men who require additional therapies, we're able to offer all that at a single site.
Get your PSA level tested by the experts. Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC. To make an appointment, visit appointments.kcuc.com.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Stay comfortable year-round with expert HVAC installation done right the first time. Enjoy zero down and payments from $180 a month. Schedule your consultation today at anthonyphce.com.
What's up, KC? This is Matt Quattrero. On your way home from the ballpark, make sure to listen to Vern's postgame show right here on 96.5 The Fan. I will not be listening.
96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Welcome back into the show. Really excited to be joined in studio by Jay Binkley here to talk some NFL draft. Bink, I appreciate you filling in for me last week when I was a little bit under the weather, man. Thank you.
We had fun. It was a lot of draft talk. I mean, we had to preface it at the beginning. We talked Royals. We led with the Royals on both days, actually. I don't know if that would be the case right now, but we did when I came in. So a lot of draft talk too, but there were some Royals.
We are 1 week away from round one of the NFL draft. We are all going to be at the Landing in Liberty. We did this last year. It was certainly a whole lot of fun. Really excited to do it again this year.
Awesome place.
You got a chance to win almost $1,000 by filling out our draft contest. You also got a chance to win a game-worn autographed helmet from Jawan Taylor if you come out there. So highly encouraging everybody listening, stop by the Landing in Liberty for round one of the draft. So I want to start national, and then we'll focus in on what Veach, and then we'll get to local, and we'll talk about the Chiefs and what you think they are going to do. Let's start with this. I think there's 4 major questions heading into round one of the draft. Number 1, where does Shedeur Sanders land? I was just listening to Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter believes that he could go anywhere from 9 to 21. I think there is a chance that he maybe goes a little bit higher than people think, kind of like what happened last year with Michael Penix. There's just always going to be an urgency for that position. I don't know where he is going to go. If you're asking me today to place a bet, a wager on it, I think he's going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I also could see the Saints with the injury that we saw to Derek Carr. Where do you think Shedeur goes? Do you think that's the number one storyline heading into the draft?
I do. 9, I think he goes to the New Orleans Saints. Shedeur Sanders there. He won't make it past Pittsburgh at 21, but I think that, but clearly I think he'll be gone at 9 to New Orleans. I mean, there's been a lot of buzz and a lot of people talk about him going to the Giants at 3. It's like, man, then I'm passing on Abdul Carter. I mean, that is a gift, Abdul Carter being able to go to the Giants, so we won't be going there. Even though they need a quarterback desperately.
The second question that I think is, and I think we're starting to get more clarity on this, but I would say maybe up until the day of the draft, we don't know. We all know who's going number 1 overall. I think there's a legitimate argument at number 2. And I love Travis Hunter. He is a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generational prospect. But the argument to me with Cleveland would be a very simple one. And we got a chance to build an elite pass rush. We have the best pass rusher in the National Football League on one side with Myles Garrett. We got a chance to put the best pass rusher in the draft on the other side of him with Abdul Carter and really wreak havoc up front and build what we think is the strongest defensive line in football. Or we can draft the ultra-talented Travis Hunter. He could maybe be an all-pro wide receiver, could maybe be an all-pro corner, could help us out in a lot of different ways. How Cleveland feels after the quarterback is off the board, I don't think that any of us know. I think they're leaning toward Travis Hunter if you were buying the smoke, but at this point, that's all it is. It's just smoke. We're not going to have that answer until Thursday.
Yeah, it's what Vegas likes the best, Travis Hunter there. Cleveland, in my opinion, it can't go any other way but Travis Hunter. That's the thing. I understand what you're saying about this elite pass rush with Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter. It works out fine because they're both different side defensive ends. Myles Garrett can play where he normally does, and Abdul Carter can play where he normally does against that left tackle. But you think about some of the talent on the defense. Grant Telpit's there. Greg Newsom's coming back. They got to find a way to score points. They do. That offense for Cleveland is weak. The quarterback position, as we know, is weak with this team as well. With Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett there. And, well, Deshaun Watson, doubt he plays at all this year. But Cedric Tillman sitting there at wide receiver. You know, Mari Toomer's gone. Jerry Jeudy still there. Michael Woods. They're going to need a wide receiver. And Travis Hunter, it looks more and more like he'll play receiver. Like if they tell him, hey, you're being receiver, he'll do it. He'll do both. I mean, I think is going to do both, to be honest with you. In different packages. I don't think all-time, full-time like he did in college football, even though he had 382 more snaps than anybody in college football last year. If anybody can do it, it's that dude. He's a unicorn. But he's so talented to be the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, win the Big Nurk Award for the Defensive Player of the Year in college football, Blitnikoff Award, the best offensive weapon, the Heisman Trophy. He's a marketing windfall.
What do you think his best position is? Like, let's say
wide receiver.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's say a team says, "Hey, we're not letting you do both. You have to focus on one of the two of them." What do you think he's better at?
Wide receiver. I mean, I think optimally it'd be like you're the starting corner, but yet we'll have 25 to 30 packages on offense.
That's actually what I think the ideal is too.
That's the ideal thing I think for him because it's much easier doing that than saying, "Well, you're the full-time receiver and we'll put you in certain situations. We'll throw you in the nickel on defense from time to time." But he's an elite wide receiver. Not only that, but you think about what Cleveland is. Cleveland needs fan support, man. They got to drum things up. I understand Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter, who, by the way, isn't 100%. He hasn't really done anything, to be honest with you, through the combine and pro day process, dealing with those offseason injuries. But Travis Hunter, he's a tough dude, man. He just plays football. He's smart, man. I mean, he made plays against UCF where he strips the ball at the very end of the game and they win, makes incredible catches, creates space. I think he's an elite wide receiver, and I think he's a marketing windfall as well, something Cleveland desperately needs. But you bring the Heisman Trophy in there, he's going to bring a lot more cash and season tickets and people going to training camp and buying merchandise than Abdul Carter.
Do you think Ashton Jeanty gets selected in the top 10?
I do.
I think there's a stretch there from about 6 to 10. All four of those teams, there's a strong argument that you should take Ashton Jeanty.
Like the Raiders.
I mean, maybe even at 5 with Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But I think Jacksonville's in a good situation with Etienne and Tank Bigsby. But I could see them at number 5 using a running back.
I think the Raiders at 6 are someone to watch when it comes to Ashton Jeanty. But all of a sudden, if he is still there, I see the Cowboys at 12. You know, because we've been thinking the Cowboys going to draft a running back the last couple of years, and they haven't.
I don't think he gets past the Bears.
I don't either. I think Ashton Jeanty. Honestly, I think he goes 6 to the Raiders.
The last thing here is the last big question I have is I think that obviously Cam Ward gets selected in round 1. I believe Shedeur is going to get selected in round 1. I also think that somebody's going to draft Jackson Dart. I don't know who that is going to be. No clue who's going to draft Jackson Dart. But I think it is pretty clear that he is locked in as the 3rd quarterback. And I think there's going to be a team that sees the value somewhere between 24 and 32 and is going to move back up into the draft to select him. I think that Jackson Dart's getting picked in the 1st round.
We actually had him going to Pittsburgh, in our all 32 team mock. We had him going 21 to Pittsburgh. So that was we had Shedeur going earlier. So obviously, Pittsburgh looking for that quarterback. It was Jackson Dart at 21 that we had him. I agree with you on it. He's definitely a 1st-round quarterback, in my opinion. We had him going 21 to Pittsburgh in our mock.
Yeah, I don't love him as a prospect, but I just think that I think it has been established that there is such a wide gap between getting Jackson Dart and whoever you have as the 4th prospect. Like, I think this could be a scenario kind of like what we saw last year. Now, the top of quarterback class was just far stronger than this year. But what I mean is we saw Bo Nix go at 12. There was not another quarterback that went off the board until 150. I think we could see Jackson Dart come off the board at, let's say, 22. And then we don't see another quarterback come off the board until the 4th round. I think there is that much of a gap in how people feel about Jackson Dart than Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, Kyle McCord, all of those other QBs.
I agree with you. And had Penix been in this draft, like there would have been discussion with he and Cam Ward, to be honest with you. Like there would have been real discussion. The injury concerns with Michael Penix would have come up. He's injured when he was at Indiana before he transferred to Washington. That would have come out. It looks like a home run from Atlanta. It always kind of looked like a joke that here's Atlanta, drafting Bijan when they already had Algier on the roster, went for 1,000 yards. Then they had Kirk Cousins. They get paid a lot of money. Then they go out and get Michael Penix. But I think Atlanta was in a Penix situation. They said, okay, here's Michael Penix. We're top 10. We don't expect to be in the top 10 in the future. And the quarterbacks the next couple of years are bad unless you're being awful for Archie.
All right, so let's go through some of the things that Brett Veach had to say as he met with the media earlier today. Here he is talking about the depth at certain positions in the NFL draft. Here's Brett Veach as he met with the media earlier today.
So the defensive line class in general is good. I think that's probably driven more so by the depth at D end. I think there's a lot of D ends, and I think that running backs is certainly I think the deepest class in the draft. A close second would be D end. I think the interior defensive line numbers are I think better than most years, but I don't think they come anywhere close to the D line depth and the corner depth. I think those two are just wow. I mean, you look at the board and those names go from top to bottom. Interior O line is light. Corner I think is actually decent in the middle rounds. I think D line is okay. But I don't think it's any more or less than any one particular. I think that where you're getting the big numbers from top to bottom are D end and running backs.
I love this running back class. I think this is a class where it doesn't matter how big of a need you feel like you have at this position. I think there's enough running backs to be able to fill it. If you're a team that wants a home run, Ashton Genty is there. If you're a team that's looking for a running back in round one that you think can make a difference, I think the Hampton kid out of North Carolina is really good. If you're a team like Kansas City and you don't want to spend a first-round pick, but you're selected near the bottom of the second, early third round, I think the couple of running backs from Ohio State make a lot of sense. I think R.J. Harvey out of UCF makes a lot of sense. I think there's some Pro Bowl caliber running backs that are going to be selected on day 2 and day 3 of this thing. I agree with him when it comes to the depth, and ultimately I want the Chiefs to grab one of those.
I would never do it in the first round. Like I'm walking away from that. I know people were enamored last year the way Saquon Barkley played. Oh, man, the running backs can make the difference on a team. And Derrick Henry, with what he did going from Tennessee and the great years he had, a great year he had there in Baltimore. He looked lightning quick again like he did as a young running back. But I think people got a little too enamored in running backs being the game changers. I think they're good, complementary pieces, but I don't think it's the end-all, be-all. I mean, just where we're sitting 2 years ago and 3 years ago when you talk about running backs being a dime a dozen, yeah, they can be impact players. They take a lot of abuse, too, a lot of hits. So I would definitely shy away from the first round. I'm 100% with him on the depth. It's interesting, Veach said it's his number one draft class. We've had Thor Nystrom. We had him on this show when you were gone last week, actually, a draft guy for Fantasy Life. He came out right out and said, last week or whatever it was, make running backs my top class. And he's been on our draft special, and too, the running backs are our top draft class. I don't agree with that. I would put him number 3 as far as position group. It's not like defensive line and edge better, to be honest with you. And then I'd have running backs there. But, man, it is just loaded. But the thing is, I keep hearing, and I think one of the good follow-up questions to Veach should have been, yes, you talk about the depth of running back, and, yeah, there's a bunch of running backs. But how many of those can you whittle down that have all 3 things you're looking for? Like how many are good blockers, good pass catchers, and can also be good in a return game as well? Because those are all important. That whittles it down a lot. When you start marking it out, who's the best pass catcher, who's the best blocker, who can actually – because Veach brought it up there. We've talked about that. They're moving the ball to 35, so you're going to have it more – it's going to be more instrumental for guys in their past and their history to return kicks. I mean, that's an important thing. But who's the best blocker? Who can catch out of the backfield? Forget about running the ball. They can do that stuff. But those are the most important things to Andy Reid. But can you return kicks as well? I think once you do that, you start whittling it down. I think you whittle this down a lot.
I mean, a big thing for me is, and I understand they're looking at having a guy that can help you in special teams and all of that. I don't care about that as much.
Yeah, they're not drafting for deep.
I mean, that's what I think Nico Remigio is for. Like that, his job is to be that home run for you. I think maybe the point that me and the text line and me and Chiefs fans maybe disagree the most. I don't think their offensive line was great in the Super Bowl. But what I think was very noticeable in watching the Eagles and watching Kansas City's offense is the Eagles got 4 or 5 guys that are home run hitters. The Chiefs had one person in their offense like that last year. Now, some of that was injuries last season, but that's not what Kareem Hunt was last year. That's not what Travis Kelce was. Like, they don't have guys that can hit home runs. I want them to go get guys that can hit home runs. They had the fewest rush attempts last year that went for 20 yards. So I'm looking for in the run game, who's somebody that can change the course of a game and really change our offense? can we add another player opposite Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice that we think can hit home runs for us in the offense? That's what I would be prioritizing for them looking at skill position players.
I'm 100% with you. You've got to find a way to separate yourself on the scoreboard. Yeah, they did win those one-score games. That's great and all, but do you think you can actually count on that going forward all the time, winning those games? You can't. You got to be able to put the ball in the end zone and start racking up points and putting the other team away. Isaiah Pacheco is interesting to me because here's the guy that ran a 4.37 at the combine. He's got that breakaway speed. He does, but everybody considers him this power running back and angry runs and throws guys off until it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, and he didn't do it. That's why they brought Kareem Hunt back. Yeah. And it's way around halftime towards the second half, it was Kareem Hunt getting the ball on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, not Isaiah Pacheco. And I understand he got hurt and all that, but I think a lot of his productivity is completely overblown in this town. I think some people look at him as a superstar and all that. He's not. And so finding a running back in the system is where I think they'll draft 100% this year, someone they can put in. They can have 3 down backs, like a Dylan Sampson's my favorite back out of Tennessee. That you just leave in there. He blocks, he does everything, catches out of the backfield. He's faster than hell. He was the SEC Offensive Player of the Year.
I like him a lot, too.
Which I think Brett Veach values that. I mean, we're talking about Mr. SEC Brett Veach. I mean, he is SEC and MAC guy. When he was with Philadelphia, he was the SEC scout. I mean, it's really put their best. But he's 100% about the SEC, and that does matter to him. It's why Clyde was drafted, to be honest with you, when he came out of LSU. It's why they did that, because he came out of the SEC. It didn't work out, because sometimes things don't work out. But, no, I'm with you. Home run hitters, because you can't count on everything. Because, yes, you have Patrick Mahomes. Do you think, honestly, Carrington, at your age, they'll ever have a quarterback to go to 5 Super Bowls and win 3? No. And he's going to go to more, you know that.
Yeah.
But never. In my lifetime, you're never going to see it. I haven't seen it before. I mean, I came there at the tail end of it all. I didn't see it before. I saw a whole lot of crap in between Dawson and Patrick Mahomes.
I don't think they're finding Tom Brady again the way they did
not.
this time.
And, you know, New England's not going to find him either.
Yeah.
You know? So here's the deal. Why you have him, load him up with weapons. Don't sit here after he retires going, man, I wish we should have given him more weapons. Man, if you had Peyton Manning, sure nice you gave him Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison. You know, that did help. And Dallas Clark, hey, you throw the ball. But you go into last year, don't look at things on paper and say you're set, because you're not set, just like Veach said. You know, that's why they had to go out and get DeAndre Hopkins. When all of a sudden the first play of the preseason, your big free agent acquisition is out in Hollywood Brown, essentially, 9 catches he had because he came back at the end of the year. Then in L.A., Rashee Rice gets hurt, so boom, you're down your top 2 receivers. And then you're relying unreasonable expectations on your rookie wide receiver, Xavier Worthy, who wasn't ready yet. Like, he wasn't ready at the end. Got ready. And sure, down the end of the stretch of the postseason, he's your best receiver. But they put this pressure on him to be this standout guy now. And he wasn't ready for that. He needed to just sit behind Hollywood, and Rashee Rice and do his deal and then emerge. But which worked out because he ended up being better than I think that people expected Xavier Worthy to be. But I 100% draft wide receivers. We don't need him. We don't need him. Did you need him last year? Because you did. Did you need him last year? Because you did.
If I gave you a free $100 right now, I guess I'll ask you 2 questions. So I'll give you 50 now, and I'll give you 50 for the second question. Right now, offensive linemen and defensive linemen are by far and away favorites for what they're going to draft. Offensive lineman right now is at -115. Defensive lineman is at +165. Do you think it's more likely? I mean, because Vegas thinks it's more likely they draft an offensive lineman than a defensive lineman.
Yeah, because Vegas watched the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you've studied this. Do you think it's more likely they draft an offensive lineman than a defensive lineman?
I think it's more likely for defensive lineman. I think that's somebody they can count on. And again, you're going to throw somebody. I understand when you look at it, but you look at the offensive line. It's Juwan Taylor. That's your guy. He's back. You think about those offensive line? Oh, your right guard, Trey Smith. He's back. Your center, Creed Humphrey. He's back. All right, where's this offensive line gotten better? Like, I've just mentioned the right side from center on. Same guys. Left guard is not going to be Joe Thuney. And I know Joe Thuney didn't work out with the shorter arms at tackle, but you know what? It's going to be a downgrade. I don't care who you have play left guard. It's not going to be a left guard as good as Joe Thuney. It's just not going to be. It's going to be a downgrade at the position. So they've downgraded left guard, and then you got left tackle that's a big question mark in Jalen Moore. So
have they upgraded at left tackle? And this is what I mean, have they upgraded?
Maybe. I mean, they've had 4 different in the Super Bowls. Every Super Bowl has been a different left tackle. Maybe upgraded. I can't definitively say yes or no because we don't know enough about Jalen.
Yeah, because that's the question that I have.
One thing we know is he was Sky Moore's teammate at Western Michigan, and he sat behind Trent Williams.
Because this is, I guess, where I'm at is, I know they have went out and they've paid a left tackle. There's no question to me. But I've heard people say, man, the offensive line was the biggest problem. I'm not really sure if the offensive line that they're going to have from week 1 against whomever their opponent is, we don't know yet. I don't know if that offensive line is going to be better than the one they had in the Super Bowl because, yes, I think that Jalen Moore is a better option than their week 1 left tackle option. Is he a better option than their week 15 left tackle option? I'm not sure if Jalen Moore is a better left tackle than Joe Thuney is as a left tackle, but you're right there.
Yeah.
They are worse at left guard.
100%. They're going to be, I don't care who they go out and get. It's going to be a downgrade to an all-pro in Joe Thuney. Now, what do you say? All right, Mahomes going to have to get rid of the football quicker. You don't want that. You want to be able to air it out. You want those St. Joe Chiefs to come back. Remember last year we sit here and watch Twitter and everything when you see the bombs to Worthy and Hollywood Brown and all that? That wasn't the team. I mean, it was the team they were supposed to be.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But that's not the team you got because injuries dictated they had to play a different style. And credit them for winning 15 games for what they had. They manufactured those wins, so a ton of credit to them. But no, you need talent at wide receiver. You need the weapons. The one thing I like about Jalen Moore is he's got that. It's a prove-it deal. Like, it behooves him to go out and play.
Oh, for sure.
And play well because he can make money. Because if not, you see what happened to Hollywood Brown. This was going to be Hollywood Brown. When they signed him, remember Veach? We got him for 1 year and all this. We all thought Hollywood Brown 1 year. Then all of a sudden the injury came. It's like, I think Hollywood Brown might be in the mix again, right? Yeah, so you always have to take that into consideration. But I think defensive line, I know everybody's enamored with offense, but do you really trust a rookie being thrown in there with Mahomes? When most of these, quote, left tackles, if they're a true left tackle, they're going early in the draft. The ones at 31, probably going to be moved to right tackle or guard.
I'll ask you this really quick. I know we're up against it here. Let's say they don't go on the offensive line. I mean, basically after that, you're taking a dart. Where do you think they could go if they don't go on the line of scrimmage in round 1?
If they don't go round 1, I think defensive line becomes 100% what they do in round 2. Is that what your question is?
No, I'm asking you. So let's say they don't take an offensive line or defensive line. What's the other position?
If he's still there. Yeah, Ted Robian keeps falling, but I don't see him going to the Chiefs, but I go wide receiver. There's a chance the burden's there.
That is our guy Binkley joining us on the show. Binkley will join us a lot over the next 10 days. We are 7 days away from the NFL draft. Take care of yourself. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember,